you called it a crankbait, and everyone's going to call it a crankbait. And I tell everyone the worst thing you can ever do is categorize it as a crankbait, because it doesn't really act like one. Like if you went down like riprap with a crankbait, that's not what you would really, you can catch fish doing that, but that's not what it's for. So I kind of say it's a little bit like a jerkbait, it's a little bit like a red eye or rattle trap, and it's a little bit like a swim bait. And the swim bait throws everyone off, but I'll explain why. So the bait doesn't dive. Like it goes down, but all crankbaits dive at an angle, right?
Right.
Well, this one just kind of goes down, but it stays level, on a level playing field, like a swim bait.
Okay.
Okay. But you can, like, you catch so many fish on it when you stop it and do little things like a jerkbait, because it's a flat-sided crankbait. And I bet you didn't even, when you saw it, that wasn't the first thing to come to your mind, because it's fat.
Right. And now that you say that, I remember it having the flat side profile.
But it's it has a fat back. So when you're moving it, all other crankbaits want to dive like this. It stays level and it rolls like crazy. And I don't know if they did it on purpose. I gotta admit, I don't think they did it on purpose. But that thing, we call it the hybrid hunter, because it goes, it's wild. Like we always joke, we never know where it's gonna go, because it's all over the place. But when you hit stuff and you stop it, like the whole almost back end almost rolls up, like just for a second. And I mean, it does everything. It's the loudest crankbait you'll probably ever hear. It's the most buoyant crankbait you'll ever find. So there's a lot of aspects to it that, like, it's all over the place.
Wow.
And so it has a lot of the good attributes that almost nothing else has it like it. And it combines it all in one. And so you can fish it over, obviously grass is probably key, but like it's just a really strange, different bait. And man, it catches them. It catches big ones too.
Now, it's interesting. So you touched on grass. Is that where we're throwing this? What's the habitat that it shines on?
So grass, obviously I live on Rayburn, so we got more hydrilla there than any, and that's where I learned to fish it. And can I talk about Ray Roberts?
Yeah.
Well, it smashes them here at Ray Roberts.
We're not in the tournament.
Okay.
We're good to go, man.
So like I started like all these different lakes, Amstead, all these different places that have grass, we would go to and it would work. But I eventually started, when I'd fish different opens and tour events and stuff, and Table Rock was the first one I figured it out on. And the other thing about it, all crankbaits too, I didn't bring this up, all crankbaits have that bill that creates resistance. Well, that bill doesn't look like that. So like you can reel this thing faster than any other crankbait. So I only throw it on a 7-to-1 because it's not really a crankbait. So I can reel this thing. You can't reel it fast enough. And the faster you reel it, the crazier it is. So you go to these clear lakes, and the speed factor, and I'm sure guys like Van Dam all get like, that's a big deal for a lot of us, is like the speed of how fast you can move something.
Yeah,
you can reel this thing so fast. So now in clear water and places like that, even though it kind of looks like that, when you're reeling it so fast, you don't give them a chance. But it's so wild and crazy that those clear lakes without any grass, anything like that, they'll
Have you fished it around smallmouth? Are they?
Yeah, Zona, me and Zona talk a little bit about the smallmouth deal.
Okay.
That's like, so before they ever got out, I gave 2 to Zona, and I was like, hey man, just go, let me know. And like, I got a phone call later, he's like, yeah, I see it. So he said, I went to a place and caught smallmouth on it. And he said, I've been there, going there for years, I've never caught as big of ones as I've ever caught. I caught bigger ones on that thing than I've ever caught ever.
Okay.
So I mean, it catches them all.
And the information Bass University provides isn't your basic run-of-the-mill fishing video. This is specific information from A to Z to help you learn, get to the water, and become a better angler quickly.